Your Excellency, President William Samoei Ruto, distinguished ministers, principal secretaries, ambassadors, heads of delegations. Your Excellency, Kenya is a regional hub for urban investment and innovation, particularly in housing this week. We all know Africa faces a $1.4 trillion housing gap. And forums like this bring together governments, financiers, the private sector to unlock solutions. Your Excellency, we have delegations from all over Africa, all shareholders and members of Shelter Afrique Development Bank, which you are graciously hosting here in Nairobi for the past 44 years, since 1982. So it's a privilege to be standing here this morning, Your Excellency, to welcome all our delegates from all over Africa in the middle of this African Urban Forum. Kenya is now the benchmark for affordable housing. Thanks to your leadership, Your Excellency, when I arrived here in Nairobi for the first time in 2016, I saw how Nairobi and Kenya looked like. And I moved out to Asia and came back again in 2023. So when I arrived in January 2023, Your Excellency, I heard you say many times that Kenya will become a construction site. Ladies and gentlemen, today, Kenya is a construction site. I've been to many places across the country, Your Excellency. I've been to Nanyuki, to Mukuru here in Nairobi. The governor is in the room. Nyeri, Nakuru, Kisumu, Homa Bay, where I actually started in January when we were there together to do the first inauguration of the first affordable housing program, which is a flagship today in Kenya, in Homa Bay. Kisumu, Eldoret, Machakos, Mombasa, Kakamega, Mandera, up north, Lamu. I've seen the country is under construction, Your Excellency, and this is not talks, this is action, this is results on the ground. Mr. President, under your leadership, you have giants at the Department of Housing. You just heard from my great brother and friend, P.S. Charles Hinger, who has been really championing the affordable housing agenda on the ground as the architect and the engineer, supported very strongly by the leadership of CS Alice Wahome, who's been at the helm of this institution for some time. Your Excellency, it is an honor again today to address you here and formally at the formal opening of this Africa Urban Forum in Nairobi, a city that reflects both the energy and the urgency of Africa's urban transformation. Across the continent, a profound shift is underway. Africa is urbanizing faster than any region in the world. Every year, millions of people move to cities seeking opportunity, livelihoods, and dignity. Our cities are therefore not only growing, they are becoming the primary stage on which Africa's development will unfold. But urbanization is not automatic progress. It must be designed, financed, and governed deliberately. Without investment, cities strain under the pressure of growth, housing shortages deepen, infrastructure gaps widen, informality expands. Policies and the right partnerships, cities can become powerful engines of prosperity and resilience. This is why the Africa Urban Forum matters. When leaders gathered for the inaugural forum in Addis Ababa in 2024, and I'm glad to see the minister in the room, declarations recognized that addressing Africa's housing and urban challenges requires strong financial institutions capable of mobilizing long-term capital. Specifically, Article 3.4 of the Addis Ababa Declaration calls on development banks, particularly Shelter Afrique Development Bank, to anchor the mobilization of financial resources from domestic and international sources to bridge the housing gap and urban development. At Shelter Afrique Development Bank, Your Excellency, we see this not merely as recognition, but a responsibility, a big responsibility. We are working with partners across the global financial ecosystem and the new African financial architecture under the leadership of the African Development Bank. We are also working with partners such as Badir, Afrexim Bank, the World Bank, the International Finance Corporation, IFC, DBSA, and other institutions to mobilize capital, strengthen project preparation, and unlock multi-billion-dollar bankable investment pipelines for African cities. But the scale of Africa's urban transformation demands more than financing alone. It requires, across the entire urban ecosystem, collaboration. National governments shaping policies, cities planning growth, development banks structuring finance, private investors deploying capital, innovators introducing new technologies, communities shaping the spaces in which they live. This forum represents, Excellency, that convergence. Over the coming days, discussions will explore and have explored, starting yesterday, how to strengthen municipal finance, develop capital market solutions, expand blended finance mechanisms, and unlock scalable investment opportunities that can accelerate housing delivery and urban infrastructure across the continent. But ultimately, the value of this forum will not be measured by the quality of our discussions here. It will be measured by the partnerships we build and the investments we mobilize. Because Africa's urban future will not be written in declarations alone. It will be written in the homes that are built, in the infrastructure that connects communities, and in the cities that give millions of Africans the opportunity to thrive. Let us therefore approach this forum with bold ideas, practical solutions, and the shared commitment to action. Let us ensure that Africa's urbanization becomes not a challenge to manage, but an opportunity to seize. And let us remember that behind every project and every investment lies something profoundly human, a family seeking stability, a young person pursuing opportunities, and a community building its future. It is with this spirit that I'm honored to join in welcoming all our member countries of Shelter Afrique Development Bank from all over Africa, West, Central, North, Southern, Eastern Africa, to this very innovative African Urban Forum, which for the first time would showcase, starting today, what we call the deal room, the African Urban Forum deal room, where transactions, investments will happen with many investors in the room and innovative projects showcased for investment. And this will be ongoing going forward. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause for Habib Han. 24 years ago, the world gathered here in Nairobi for the inaugural World Urban Forum. Later, next month, the world gathers again in Azerbaijan. And Your Excellency, I'd like now to invite His Excellency Anar Guliev, the chairperson of the State Committee for Urban Planning and Architecture of the Republic of Azerbaijan and National Coordinator for the World Urban Forum. You can come to this microphone, please, if you don't mind. Wolf, number 13. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Excellency Dr. William Samuel Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, Excellency Mr. Moses Vilakati, Commissioner of the African Union, Honorable Ministers, Madam Ana Claudia Rosbach, Executive Director of UN Habitat, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by expressing my sincere appreciation to His Excellency President Ruto, the government of Kenya, as well as to the African Union and UN Habitat for the leadership in bringing together governments, development partners, and other stakeholders. The second African Urban Forum has been made possible by the vision and dedication of partners advocating the global urban agenda. Kenya is certainly one of the most prominent champions of sustainable city planning and development. It was here in Nairobi in 2002 that the very first World Urban Forum took place, laying the foundation for what has become the world's most important platform for urban dialogue. Kenya is home to UN Habitat, and this forum taking place in Nairobi builds on the country's tangible initiatives aimed at improving living conditions of citizens through large-scale housing and infrastructure development projects. I have had chance of seeing some of them. They are really impressive. We know from our own experience how valuable such forums are. Azerbaijan was first country in our part of the world to organize National Urban Forum in 2022. Practical value of that forum has inspired continuity of the urban dialogue, turning it into regional one, and ultimately driving our decisions to nominate Baku as the host of the 13th World Urban Forum. I'm truly thrilled to see excellent progress on the urban agenda in Africa. I would like to congratulate the African Union for its leadership. African Urban Forum, premiered in Ethiopia in 2024, has already positioned itself as an important and influential platform for advancing dialogue and cooperation on sustainable urban development across the continent. It demonstrates Africa's growing determination to shape the future of its cities. Statements by Excellency Ministers made yesterday are driven by strong ownership and resolve to produce tangible results through practical solutions. This is exactly what we want the outcomes of the World Urban Forum in Baku next month to be, practical and action-oriented. Speaking of synergy, the theme of the second Africa Urban Forum, adequate housing for all, advancing socio-economic and environmental transformation towards the realization of Agenda 2063, is naturally intertwined with the theme of the 13th World Urban Forum, housing the world, safe and resilient cities and communities. Housing is more than shelter. It is a foundation for stability, dignity, and economic opportunity. It drives economic growth that improves people's everyday life, strengthens the social cohesion within and among the communities. We live in a time of complex challenges. Across the world, cities are experiencing growing pressure from rapid urbanization, the expansion of informal settlements, limited access to adequate affordable housing, and the increasing impact of climate-related risks and other emergencies. Responding to these challenges requires more than technical solution. It calls for visionary urban planning, sustained investment, and people-centered policies. It also requires stronger partnership at the national, regional, and global levels. Having underlined the prominent role of Kenya and African Union, I feel obliged to also emphasize steadfast role of UN Habitat. Being the host of the 13th session of World Urban Forum, my country is pleased to work with such a reliable and professional counterpart. So I suspect this is at least partially defined by the famous Nairobi spirit. Azerbaijan attaches great importance to the strengthening partnership with countries of the continent, with Africa Urban Forum being one of the important avenues of this cooperation. Our commitment to the housing and urban development agenda draws from our own experience. Following the liberation of its territories in 2020, under the strategic vision of leadership of His Excellency Ilham Aliyev, President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, our country launched the large-scale Great Return program in its Karabakh and East Zangezur regions. This is a comprehensive effort not just to rebuild cities and villages, but to bring the life back to what was a barren desert only 5 years ago. Most importantly, this is also a major contribution to lasting peace and regional partnership, including with Armenia. Successful post-conflict reconstruction is probably more important today than ever before. We believe our experience can contribute meaningfully to similar processes to house the world through safe and resilient cities and communities. The very key theme of WUF 13 I have mentioned earlier. The second Africa Urban Forum is the largest international event in the sector, organized ahead of WUF 13 this year. In fact, timing could not be any better, as we will be welcoming the WUF 13 participants to Baku in a bit more than a month. We are encouraged by strong engagement of African stakeholders. About 40 African participants, government, civil society and private sector have already registered for the Urban Expo, and about 50 ministers, deputy ministers, ambassadors, mayors and local government representatives have confirmed their attendance, with total number of registered participants having already exceeded 16,000. Housing and urban resilience will be at the center of the forum's program, through high-level dialogues, thematic discussions and special sessions. The forum will feature more than 40 main sessions, over 350 partner-led events and 35,000 square meter urban expo. For the first time in the history of the World Urban Forums, Azerbaijan has initiated a high-level leaders meeting, reflecting our strong political commitment to the global development agenda. We are honored that a number of heads of states have confirmed their attendance, including many from Africa. It goes without saying, we very much count on the most active, valuable contribution of our Kenyan partners, and active engagement of the African Union. Special session Africa Affordable Housing Compact will take place during the WUF 13. The session will explore financing models and partnerships to accelerate the delivery of sustainable, scalable housing solutions across the continent. The government of Azerbaijan will also organize a special session, Cities at the Heart of Connectivity, Urban Reconstruction and Regional Cooperation, highlighting how urban reconstruction can contribute to broader regional connectivity and cooperation, with cities playing a central role in this process. Let me underline, while well aware of the importance of such deep intellectual discussion, we are also determined to ensure practical value of the above deliberations. We cannot afford those discussions to remain discussions only, no matter how rich and well-intended. We believe WUF 13 presents important opportunities for Africa to engage actively and showcase its experience. Having hosted COP29, Azerbaijan is availing itself of existing and building new partnerships and spearheading climate change action, including through urban agenda. This will be among priorities of the WUF 13 as we look to contribute to COP31 in Turkey. Let me also mention that we have pleasure of co-chairing the open-ended expert working group on adequate housing for all, along with our friends from Somalia. I have mentioned the special role of Kenya plays in urban agenda, but let us not forget, the country's capital is also home to the UN Environment Agency, UNEP. We are pleased to announce the launch of Baku Urban Award during WUF 13, an initiative that will recognize transformative achievements in housing and urban development worldwide. We encourage cities, institutions and organizations from across this continent to consider this an opportunity to showcase your innovative solutions. Urbanization is one of the defining transformations of our century. The discussions taking place here in Nairobi extend beyond this hall. They are of great importance for discussions in Baku. Those discussions, in their turn, will shape direction of the global urban agenda for years ahead. As we all know, the battle for SDGs will be won or lost in the cities. Losing is not an option. However, we can win only together. Let us join our efforts. I invite each and every one of you to join us next month at WUF 13. The strong presence and active contributions of African states, local governments and communities will elevate the discussions and strengthen the outcomes. I wish the second African Urban Forum every success and productive deliberation. I extend my sincere wishes for continued prosperity, well-being and resilience to the people of Kenya, thanking them for their hospitality, and to all the nations of Africa. I look forward to welcoming you in Baku. Asante sana, thank you for your attention.